everybody. I wanted to make this video to let you guys know why I haven't been around for the past 2 weeks. In one of my last videos, I talked about having a surgery, and things just went really wrong. I went in for my surgery. There's no way to do this video without giving you guys a little too much information. So the surgery itself is a pretty routine procedure. I had a cyst in, it's called the Bartholin gland. If you don't know what that is, then pause right now to Google it so you guys can see where exactly we're talking about down there. So the surgery was for just a routine procedure to have a cyst removed. And the surgery typically is only supposed to take about 30 minutes. It's an outpatient procedure, and you can go home that same day and be walking, the next day. So we went in for the surgery. My surgery was supposed to be at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't have my surgery until about 10 a.m. And I went in, everything was fine. We had no worries about anything, expecting to go home after that. And my husband was waiting for me. We had dropped off all the kids. Liam was at school, the kids were at daycare. And when I woke up, I was just in so much pain. I just remember crying and just tossing and turning in pain. I could not sit still. I was hurting so bad. It was so intense, and I couldn't even open my eyes. All of that was just kind of blurry to me. It's a little blacked out. Of course I was on medication at the time, but I think the pain and having my eyes closed and everything was just, it's hard for me to remember everything that was going on. I remember when they had put me into the post-op room, and I had my husband on this side, and then there was a doctor there and a couple of other nurses because they were trying to calm me down. They were on the phone with my doctor, and they had said that they had already given me 10 cc's or ml. I'm not exactly sure what the proper measurement was, but it was 10 of morphine is what they said. And I was still in an extreme amount of pain. And I remember the look on my husband's face, because I've had 3 kids, and I've never been in so much pain, not even through labor have I experienced that kind of pain. What I remember going forward from there was they called in a woman who was supposed to be, I think, a nurse for pain management, and she gave me a shot of tramadol on top of the medication that they had already given me. And she was the only one who kind of took the time to try to calm me down, talk me down, and get me to slow down and just get out of my head and stop thinking about the pain that I was in. And once she gave me that shot of tramadol, I was able to tolerate the pain a lot better. Once I kind of came out of it, my husband started telling me that I was in there for a long time. My 30-minute procedure turned into 3 hours. My husband hadn't been updated at that time, so we still weren't really sure what had happened, and my doctor had to go off to a delivery, so we didn't really have the full details of what happened. The nurses couldn't really tell us what happened either, just they knew the kind of surgery that I had and the amount of pain that I was in and the swelling. I had such extreme swelling that I could not even pee. I could not go to the bathroom. And for when you have an outpatient procedure, one of the policies that they have is that you cannot leave until you've gone to the restroom and you can get up and walk around. And I couldn't. I had to take a wheelchair to the bathroom, and every time I tried going, I could not. So they held me in outpatient all the way until I think it was about 3 p.m. or so. And at that point, you know, we were not expecting to be there. We should have been gone, you know, a couple hours before. So we had to arrange for somebody to pick up my son from school, and it was just a mess. I got so emotional because my husband had to leave. He stayed as long as he could, but we didn't have anybody to help us with our kids. We obviously weren't expecting this. Because of the amount of swelling and pain that I was in, they decided it would be best to admit me to the hospital for to stay and sorry, I keep losing my words when I'm trying to talk. I can't think very clearly right now. They needed to keep monitoring me. The nurses at the hospital had told me that the doctor decided to admit me. That way they can keep monitoring. I was still on very high pain medication, and my blood pressure was dropping. Later that evening, when I was admitted to the hospital, the doctor came to see me. And my doctor, I've been with her for since my first pregnancy, so it's been about 5-6 years. And she came in and she had almost like tears in her eyes. She was just very emotional, which I was surprised to see her like that. And that's when she told me everything that happened. In the surgery, once she opened everything up and she started doing the cyst removal, she told me that I had like a cluster of cysts. So one of them was like deeply embedded, and she just had like covered in veins and just like really stuck in there. And every time she tried to remove it any which way, she would manipulate the cyst itself, it would just start spraying out blood. And she said that I lost a lot of blood. So they were keeping me to see if I needed a blood transfusion because my blood pressure kept dropping. What else? She said that because of all of the blood loss and all of these little veins that were connected to the cyst, she had to put a lot of stitches to stop the bleeding. They had to cauterize a lot. And she said, I asked her about how many stitches I had, and she was just like, to be honest, I'm not even sure. We just kept stitching up every time something would start bleeding again. And so I was like, okay, ballpark, like 1 to 25. She's like, no, more than that. And I was like, okay, like 50 to 100 stitches? And she said, yeah, probably somewhere in there. So that explained the amount of pain that I was in and that I'm still in. She also told me that the cyst that she removed was very different in, I guess, texture than a normal cyst. She said that the one that caused all the damage was like a hard mass. So instantly, of course, I got worried, and I asked her, "You mean like a tumor?" And the only response that she could give me was, "I don't know." She sent it off for lab testing, so we're just still waiting on the results of that. She said that everything is removed, so that's the good news, is whatever was in there, whether it was a cyst or a tumor, we just have to wait and see what it was, but at least it's out. So it's been a very emotional time right now. My husband was so worried because, I mean, could you imagine being there for, like a 30-minute procedure and then not getting any updates or any word on your spouse, on your wife, of what's going on, and then, it's 30 minutes pass by, then it's an hour, 2 hours, it's 3 hours. This procedure turned into a 3-hour long surgery, and he just was so strong throughout the whole thing. And they were scared they were gonna lose me because of the amount of blood that I was losing. So I was admitted, and I ended up staying for 2 days in the hospital. The second day, it was really, really tough. I was in so much pain. The amount of swelling that I had down there, it was irrecognizable. Like, I don't even know what I was looking at. It was so swollen, probably about a good 1 inch to 2 inches of swelling, like away from my body, if that makes sense. I can't really put any pictures in for obvious reasons, but it was just insane. The surgery was done on my left side, and basically the swelling took over my whole groin area, and because of how swollen I was, my skin became so thin that it actually started tearing in some places. So this started causing a lot of problems. During this time, they had me on a central line to, I think it was fentanyl. And I was so sick from, I don't know if it was all of the medication that I was on, but I was throwing up nonstop. I couldn't even hold water down. I think it was just the nerves and the fact of what was going on. And, being a mom with little kids that you're at home with all the time and you're taking care of, I was just extremely worried. The doctor said that I was not relaxing enough, that I was not going to be able to heal and not be in pain if I didn't relax and not be stressing about things that I, couldn't do anything about at the moment. I needed to just focus on healing. So I was taking Xanax and fentanyl, and they had me on antibiotics for me not to get an infection, for there not to turn into an infection. And I was just in and out of consciousness that whole day. There wasn't much that I remember. They just kept coming in to check my blood pressure, and it just kept dropping that day. It was, you know, in the low hundreds, and then it started going down into the 90s, 80s, and then into the 70s. And that's when the doctor started talking about a blood transfusion, because she was getting very worried about my blood pressure dropping down so low. Luckily, after that, I did not have to have a blood transfusion after all. I think it was around dinner time I was able to finally hold down, I think it was Jello. And then they had me stay another night again. So on the third day, my husband, he was able to come and see me with my daughter, Gracie. And I think that's when I had shared a picture on my Instagram. And I just received so much love and support from everybody. And I think that just made me feel so much better. I just really want to thank everybody for all the love and support that I've got throughout this time in my life right now. A lot of you I talk to almost on a daily basis, and then so many moms that follow me that maybe haven't reached out to me before. You know, everybody was just sending me messages and love and praying for me. And I want to say thank you, because I feel like that helped me so much when I really needed it, seeing everybody, people who I don't even know, there for me. So thank you guys so much for all your love and support.